The city was alive with its usual chaos, cars honking, people rushing to their destinations, and the endless hum of a place that never slept. Michael Drake sat inside his black SUV, the tinted windows shielding him from the world outside. He had seen everything the city could throw at him: cutthroat deals, broken promises, and the harsh realities of life beneath the glittering skyline. But today, something felt different. A knot twisted in his chest as his eyes caught sight of a small boy weaving through the traffic. The child was barefoot, his clothes tattered and dirty, clutching a plastic bag filled with candy like it was treasure. Nothing out of the ordinary for a street kid, but then Michael's gaze locked on something shining. At the boy's neck, a silver necklace, not just any necklace, the delicate butterfly pendant, with a single blue sapphire in the center, shimmered faintly in the morning sun. It was the same necklace his daughter Lily had worn the day she disappeared 2 years ago. The same necklace he had spent months searching for, hoping it would lead him back to her. Michael's breath caught in his throat. He threw open the door of his SUV without a second thought, ignoring the cacophony of horns behind him. Heart pounding, he called out, "Hey, stop!" The boy's head snapped toward him, eyes wide with fear. Then, as if the fear itself gave him wings, he sprinted away, weaving faster between cars. Dodging the bustling crowd, Michael didn't hesitate. His suit felt heavy, cumbersome, but desperation lent him speed he hadn't known he still had. He dashed into the street, narrowly avoiding a taxi. Chasing the boy through the throng of people and traffic. The chase was frantic down busy sidewalks, through a narrow alley behind a deli, past piles of broken crates and trash bags. The boy's fear was palpable, but Michael's determination was fiercer. At last, he cornered the child between two crumbling brick walls. The boy's chest rose and fell rapidly. "I didn't steal it," he gasped. "I found it. I swear. Please, I just want to help." Michael stepped closer, voice trembling despite himself. "Where did you find the necklace?" The boy's eyes darted nervously before he whispered, "There's a girl. She's alive. I found her in an old warehouse on the Lower East Side. She looked like she was gone, but she's not. I've been trying to help her." Michael's mind raced. His daughter missing for 2 years. Could she really be alive? Hidden away in the shadows of the city, the nightmare he thought was over was just beginning. He knelt down, searching the boy's eyes for the truth. "What's her name? What happened to her?" The boy hesitated. "They don't want anyone to find her. It's dangerous. But she's scared and alone. You have to help her." Michael's heart hammered. This was no longer just a missing child case. It was a fight against something much darker. A secret buried beneath the city's surface, threatening to tear apart not just his family, but everything he had built. As sirens wailed in the distance, Michael made a silent promise to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The street kid's necklace was more than a piece of jewelry. It was the key to a conspiracy that would shatter lives and expose hidden enemies. The war in the shadows had just begun. Michael felt the weight of the boy's words settle heavily on his shoulders as he stood in the narrow alley, the morning sun struggling to break through the tall buildings. The city's noise seemed distant now, replaced by a rising tension that gripped his heart. This wasn't just a chance encounter. This was a lifeline thrown to him in the darkest moment. He'd known. "Tell me everything," Michael said quietly, his voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside him. The boy swallowed hard, eyes flickering with fear and determination. "My name's Sam. I've been on these streets a long time. Saw things no kid should see. But a few days ago, I heard rumors about a girl locked up in that old warehouse, just barely alive. People said she was broken, like no one wanted her to live." Michael's mind raced as he processed the information. The warehouse was in a rundown part of the Lower East Side, a place where forgotten things and forgotten people disappeared without a trace. If Lily was there, it was no accident. Someone wanted to keep her hidden. "Why didn't you come to the police?" Michael asked. "Or someone who could help?" Sam's lips pressed into a thin line. "They don't help kids like me. And this isn't normal. There are people watching, dangerous people. I tried once, but I got warned. They said if I said anything, I'd disappear too." Michael's fists clenched. The walls closing in on his daughter were made of more than just Brick and mortar, they were built of lies, threats, and a conspiracy woven deep into the city's shadows. "We need to get to that warehouse," Michael said. "But it's not safe. If those people are watching, they might be watching me now." Sam nodded. "You're already being watched. I saw men in suits following you earlier today. But you didn't notice." The gravity of the situation hit Michael with full force. His wealth and influence hadn't shielded him from this nightmare. If anything, they had made him a target. The deeper he dug, the darker the secrets would become. They moved quickly, Michael keeping low as Sam led the way through back alleys and forgotten streets. The city's pulse slowing around them, every shadow felt alive, every corner a potential threat. Michael's thoughts kept drifting to Lily, her smile, her laugh, the way she used to light up a room. And now, she was trapped somewhere, scared and alone, waiting for him. When they reached the warehouse, it loomed like a tomb, its broken windows staring out like empty eyes. The air was thick with dust and decay. Michael's heart pounded as he stepped inside, the boy's small hand gripping his tightly. Inside, they found signs of life: crumbled blankets, scattered food wrappers, a faint smell of medicine. And then, a soft sound, barely a whisper, a fragile plea for help. Michael's breath caught. He moved forward, each step echoing against the cold concrete walls. In a dim corner, wrapped in threadbare blankets, lay a young girl. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing a mixture of fear and hope. Michael's heart shattered and mended all at once. It was Lily. She was thinner, weaker, but unmistakably his daughter. The butterfly necklace still rested on her chest, a symbol of the bond that had survived even the darkest days. Lily's voice was barely audible. "Daddy." Tears burned Michael's eyes as he reached out, pulling her close. "I'm here, Lily. I'm not letting you go." But even as relief flooded through him, the shadows whispered a warning. This was only the beginning. The enemy who had taken Lily wasn't finished yet, and the real battle was about to begin. Outside, footsteps echoed, and Michael knew the fight for his family's future had already drawn its first blood. Michael's arms tightened around Lily as the fragile light in her eyes sparked a fire within him he hadn't felt in years. Yet even in that moment of reunion, his instincts screamed danger. The faint echo of footsteps grew louder, bouncing off the cracked walls of the warehouse. Someone was coming, someone who didn't want this secret uncovered. He looked at Sam, who stood frozen, eyes wide with fear. "We have to move now." Lily weakly nodded, clutching her father's shirt. Her voice was a whisper. "Daddy, what happened to me?" He swallowed the lump in his throat and forced himself to stay calm. "I'll explain everything. But first, we get you safe." Michael guided them through the dark corridors of the warehouse, every shadow seeming to shift. And watch them. The air was thick with the scent of mold and something metallic. His mind raced. Who could have done this to Lily? Who was behind this hidden prison? As they reached a rusted emergency exit, the door suddenly slammed open, revealing two men in dark suits. Their eyes were cold, calculating. "Step aside, Mr. Drake. This doesn't concern you." Michael's pulse surged. "It concerns me because that's my daughter." One of the men stepped forward, voice low and threatening. "You don't know what you're getting into. Let this go, or you'll lose more than your daughter." Lily gasped, but Michael's resolve hardened. "I'm not walking away." Suddenly, sirens blared outside the distant but growing sound of police. The men exchanged looks and disappeared into the shadows as swiftly as they'd come. Michael cursed under his breath. Whoever was behind this had power, but he wouldn't let them win. Outside, the city was waking up, oblivious to the storm brewing in the alleys. Michael knew he had to act fast. He helped Lily into the SUV and turned to Sam. "Thank you. You saved my daughter's life." Sam shrugged, avoiding his gaze. "Just be careful. They're watching." Back at Michael's penthouse, the sterile luxury felt cold compared to the raw reality outside. He sat beside Lily, who finally seemed to relax, her breathing slowing. She was safe for now, but her silence about what she had endured gnawed at him. "Lily, can you tell me what happened? Who took you?" he asked gently. Tears welled in her eyes. "It started with a man. He said he was helping me, but he lied. They kept me hidden because I saw something I shouldn't have. I overheard plans about your company, Dad plans that could destroy everything. Michael's blood ran cold. His empire, built on years of sacrifice, was tangled in something sinister. He realized the missing necklace wasn't just a clue about Lily. It was a key to a conspiracy targeting them all. Determined to protect his family and uncover the truth, Michael reached out to trusted allies and began piecing together the puzzle. But every step brought new threats, and as he dug deeper, he realized the enemy was closer than he ever imagined. The battle for justice was no longer just personal, it was a war that would shake the foundations of his world. Michael sat alone in his dimly lit study, the weight of everything crashing down on him like a storm. Lily's words echoed relentlessly. In his mind, a conspiracy that could destroy everything he had built. A darkness creeping into his family and business. The necklace, the warehouse, the men in suits, they were all pieces of a puzzle far more dangerous than he'd ever imagined. The city outside was indifferent, its neon lights flickering against the night sky. But inside, Michael knew a battle was raging, one he couldn't afford to lose. He pulled out his phone and made a call to someone he hadn't spoken to in years. Claire Reynolds, an investigative journalist known for exposing the darkest secrets buried beneath the city's surface. If anyone could help him unravel the truth, it was her. Claire, he said when she answered, voice tense but steady. I need your help. It's about my daughter and a conspiracy tied to my company. There was silence on the other end. Before she finally replied, Michael, you're not the only one looking into this. There are powerful forces at play. We have to be careful. Their meeting was arranged in a quiet cafe far from prying eyes. Claire arrived with a stack of files and a sharp, knowing look. Your company has been under scrutiny for months, she explained. But this goes deeper. Someone inside your board is feeding information to rivals, sabotaging projects, and covering up illegal activities. Michael felt a chill run down his spine. Betrayal from within his own circle. Together, they began to dig through the layers of deceit, encrypted emails, hidden transactions, and shadowy figures who disappeared whenever they got close. Every lead pointed to a shadow network of greed and power, one that didn't hesitate to use violence to silence threats. As Michael and Claire pieced together the evidence, they uncovered a chilling truth. Lily's kidnapping was not random. She had seen something she wasn't supposed to, something that could topple the empire from the inside. The walls around Michael seemed to close in. Every phone call was traced, every move watched. Friends he once trusted grew distant, and alliances shifted like sand. One night, as Michael returned home, his car was followed by an unmarked vehicle. His heart pounded as he took a sharp turn, losing them in a maze of backstreets. The message was clear. The enemy was near, and they wanted him to know it. But Michael refused to back down. For Lily, for his family, and for the truth, he was ready to fight. The next day, Claire handed him a folder. Inside were names, powerful individuals who had everything to gain from his downfall. It was time to expose them, but Michael knew the cost would be high. As he prepared for what lay ahead, he looked at Lily, sleeping peacefully in her room, and whispered a promise. I will bring you home, no matter what it takes. Outside, the city held its breath, waiting for the storm that was about to break. Michael paced his penthouse late into the night, the city lights casting long shadows across the floor. The weight of betrayal and danger pressed on him like a relentless tide. Every name in the folder Claire had given him was a thread in a tangled web of greed and deceit. But pulling one thread risked unraveling everything: his company, his reputation, even his family's safety. Lily's fragile recovery was the only light in his dark world. Her quiet strength inspired him, but she was still haunted by what she'd endured. Michael knew the enemy was watching, waiting for him to make a mistake. The next morning, a coded message arrived at his office, an anonymous warning to stop digging or face consequences. The threat was clear, but Michael's resolve only hardened. He called Claire. We're close. I can feel it. But they're desperate. Claire's voice was steady. Then we need to be smarter. Gather more evidence. Find the proof that will bring them down. Michael agreed and began assembling a small team of trusted allies, people who had nothing to gain from lies, only the truth. Together, they planned to infiltrate the very heart of the conspiracy. Days turned into nights filled with secret meetings, hidden cameras, and digital surveillance. Every step brought them closer to the puppeteers pulling the strings. But the closer they got, the more dangerous their mission became. One evening, as Michael returned home, he found his penthouse ransacked, papers scattered, drawers emptied. A chilling message was left on his desk: "You're running out of time." Fear surged through him, but it was quickly replaced by determination. They had crossed a line, and now the fight was personal. Lily, sensing the tension, reached out to her father. "Dad, I want to help. I remember things, faces, voices. Maybe I can recognize someone." Her bravery surprised him, despite everything. She refused to be a victim. Michael nodded, pride mixing with worry. "We'll face this together." With renewed strength, they dove back into the investigation. One breakthrough came when Claire uncovered financial records linking a board member to illegal arms deals, a secret that, if exposed, would topple the entire operation. But just as hope flickered, disaster struck. Sam, the street kid who had brought Michael to Lily, was found unconscious in an alley. A warning clearly meant for Michael and his team. The lines between friend and foe blurred as trust grew scarce. The enemy was ruthless, willing to destroy anyone in their path. Michael realized the battle was no longer just about business or family, it was a fight for survival. As he stood on the rooftop overlooking the city, the wind whipping around him, he made a silent vow to bring justice, to protect those he loved, and to never give up even if it meant facing the darkest corners of humanity. The final showdown was coming, and Michael was ready. The city lay beneath Michael like a vast, restless ocean, each light flickering like a heartbeat in the darkness. The final pieces of the puzzle were in his hands now, the evidence collected, the names exposed, and the courage of those who had stood by him formed an unbreakable chain. But the enemy was desperate, dangerous, and closer than he'd ever imagined. That night, as Michael prepared to confront the shadowy figures who had stolen his daughter and nearly destroyed his life, the weight of every sacrifice pressed on him. He thought of Lily, her fragile smile, her quiet strength, and knew that failure was not an option. The plan was simple, but risky. Expose the corrupt board members during a high-profile company event. Broadcast the truth to the world, and force justice to take its course. Michael's allies had worked tirelessly to ensure the evidence was airtight: financial records, secret recordings, testimonies from insiders, all waiting to be revealed. As the event began in a glittering hall filled with the city's elite, Michael felt a cold resolve settle over him. The eyes of powerful men and women were fixed on him. Unaware that the walls they hid behind were crumbling, he stepped up to the podium, his voice calm but firm. "Tonight, I will share a story not just of betrayal and greed, but of hope, courage, and the fight for truth." The room fell silent. Tension thickened the air. Michael unveiled the evidence one piece at a time. Names, dates, and deeds laid bare under the bright lights. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd as the facade of power cracked. Suddenly, the screens flickered and a live feed showed Lily standing strong beside Sam and Claire, faces filled with defiant hope. The room erupted in shock. In that moment, Michael realized something profound. This wasn't just his battle, it was a movement fueled by the courage of ordinary people standing against injustice. Security moved to silence him, but the damage was done. The media had the story, and the city was watching. In the days that followed, arrests were made, resignations tendered, and a corrupt empire began to fall. But the victory was bittersweet. Michael looked at Lily, now safe and healing, knowing the scars would take time to fade. Yet, amidst the pain, a new chapter was beginning, a story of resilience, love, and the unyielding spirit to overcome darkness. The necklace, once a symbol of loss, had become a beacon of hope. And as Michael held Lily's hand, he whispered, "We survived the storm. Now we build the future." The city breathed with renewed life, its shadows pierced by the light of truth, courage, and the unbreakable bonds of family.